It has been a while since I've talked about Insurgency Sandstorm, and especially the console version, so I decided with 2 recent live streams to just hop on and play, mostly against bots, but doing some domination matches as well. This isn't a full review of the game or anything, as I just don't have a ton of time to put into Insurgency, and what I enjoy from Insurgency is few and far between, and that's kind of what this video is about. Sandstorm, to me, feels like untapped potential. Sandstorm feels like a lot is being left on the table, just in every facet of its gameplay. From some core gameplay things to some console-specific stuff, I feel like this game could rise to the top and be an absolute juggernaut in the industry, in the market, but unfortunately it's being held back by some things, and let's talk about that. I don't think New World Interactive should be working on adding new weapons or maps or anything like that. While it is funny that Insurgency Sandstorm gets more content in its updates than Halo Infinite or Battlefield 2042, it's sad to me that this game has fundamental problems, engine-based issues that I would like to see resolved, and some console-specific changes that need to be implemented in order for this game to, again, climb to the top, and adding maps and weapons to a flawed system isn't gonna do a whole lot. First things first is settings. This game just needs more settings in general, just more options for your controller tuning, more options for heads-up display changing, FOV, I don't know. You look at any of like the modern COD and Battlefield games and even modern Halo games, they just seem to have more settings you can play around with and tweak, and Insurgency Sandstorm doesn't really seem to do that, and more settings would make the game just infinitely better. The ability to fine-tune my controller would be a godsend. They have a good amount of settings, but not enough for me to truly appreciate. And speaking of controller-related things, on the console version, there needs to be a tweak to how recoil is being managed and handled. Because Insurgency Sandstorm on PC, full autoing somebody at close to mid-range felt kinda doable with a mouse, but on controller, it's like pulling down on the analog stick doesn't properly fight the recoil. It just, the recoil is still going up, but you're just aiming down towards the floor. So it's like you're changing where you're looking and not exactly how your gun is gonna be controlling. Analog sticks are not as precise as mouse. On a mouse, you can put your gun on semi-auto and kind of click on people in Insurgency, and it's fun, but on controller, it's not as precise, and I feel like every other console game, every other console shooter has a pretty good feature where if you're firing full auto and pulling down on your stick, it corrects the recoil. Maybe not the horizontal or bloom or whatever, but if you're looking down and the gun's kicking up, you're gonna control the recoil. I get why Insurgency makes this hard to do. You don't want people in your very fast time to kill game lasering people like it's Call of Duty confidently all the time. But it's still, in my opinion, a little too extreme. What's annoying is using a 5.56 or 9mm weapon with a foregrip and compensator and pulling down on the stick while holding full auto and still losing control of it, even to the point that at 20 meters, I don't feel like I can hit a target confidently and consistently. And as you increase the caliber, the recoil goes up, and it makes certain engagements feel awkward unnecessarily. Like, yeah, recoil should be high, but I mean, recoil is controllable in games like Rainbow Six Siege and Call of Duty's had hardcore mode for a long time, and I feel like this game could really capture the people that have been kind of going into Call of Duty's hardcore modes to get a taste of that tactical, realistic, one shot and they drop sort of feel. But they're gonna go into Insurgency and they're gonna, fire a weapon in close quarters and start hitting the ceiling and shooting zigzags around people. And I'm sorry, I feel like a trained operator is gonna be able to, manage the recoil on their foregripped M4 much easier than you can in the game with a controller. Again, on mouse, this doesn't seem to bother me as much, but on controller, it just doesn't feel properly tuned. Honestly, console-specific recoil nerfs to certain guns would be fantastic, because some weapons are so obviously designed for mouse, and you could say, well, Insurgency is not a console game. It is on console, though, so that's not a real argument. You can't say it's not for console players when it's being sold to console players are being charged for it, and they're playing it, wanting to like it. So no, it is on console, it is for console, there it is, they're watching console gameplay of it. And I do think that for console specifically, certain weapons should have their recoil drastically reduced. On top of that, there's issues where going upstairs makes your character stutter, and there's also issues when you slide into a piece of cover, your character sort of boings off of it, and I don't understand that. If I slide into a wall in like any other shooter with a slide, my character stops. So if there's a wall in front of me and I slide into it, my character doesn't keep doing the slide animation into the wall. That doesn't make any sense. I shouldn't be carrying any more momentum into concrete. So I really would like it if when I slide into a wall, I actually come to a complete stop. And then there's another console-specific issue that is very detrimental in my opinion. Controller requires a tandem dance of the left and right stick. You need to be moving the left and right stick together in, again, in sort of a dance to walk your sight on the target. That's what you do because controller is not an accurate thing. And Insurgency Sandstorm doesn't have a ton of aim assist. It has slowdown and you can tweak it a little bit, but it's not like Call of Duty or Battlefield or even Halo. So, because the game requires so much precision and has such light aim assist, what's so frustrating to me is that side strafing and backstepping is drastically slower than forward movement. Just trying to enter a room and pie a corner feels like a damn chore. I never had this problem on PC, and then I realized why I dislike it so much on controller is that left stick isn't just about movement on controller, it's also about your precision. Left stick aiming is important, and if I can't move my left stick faster than a snail's pace, I'm a little annoyed. I get wanting to slow the game down, I get wanting people to not laser each other, but making the recoil abhorrent on certain weapons and making my character side strafe like a 90-year-old with arthritis just doesn't make any sense. I should be able to shoot and scoot and move around corners fluidly, and yet the side strafe speed in this game is insultingly slow. The two friends I've gotten into Insurgency Sandstorm both complain that side strafing feels like a pile of dog shit. And more on that, I believe that the Xbox and Xbox One X, PS4 and PS4 Pro are still running at 30 FPS. You should be prioritizing getting those consoles running at 900p, even 720p, 60 FPS. Give them a performance mode that does like 720p dynamic resolution. Something. I don't know how impossible that's gonna be, but it shouldn't be. There are friends that I literally feel like I can't tell to buy this game because they don't have money for a Series X or they don't want to buy a Series X and they're playing on a 1X and they don't really want to play a 30 FPS shooter with such a rapid and fast time to kill. Back to controller settings though, RB is used to focus your shot. And focusing in Insurgency basically means you reduce all your idle sway and you zoom in a little bit more. Making that RB means to shoot and use this feature, I need to be holding RB with my index and then shooting with my middle. Maybe there's a way to remap buttons and I don't know what it is yet, but I've been checking the settings and I can't find a way to do this. So what I did is I took one of my back paddles on my Razor Wolverine Ultimate and I made, I think the back left paddle, focus. So I can hold focus with my left hand under the controller and aim with my right and shoot with my right. So that makes sense, right? And then I kind of feel like I'm cheating because a lot of people are putting up with the hold RB and then try to use the trigger at the same time. It doesn't make any sense. And this was like an issue with leaning. I believe leaning was set up in a certain way when the game released on console where you couldn't use hybrid sights because the button prompts were the same. And so they really need to fix this. And then on top of all of that, with the latest update, I've noticed a plethora of small annoying bugs that are just frustrating to deal with. Killing an enemy and having them T-pose in the open, or just other random buggy things happening. Again, kicking open a door but it won't actually open, stuff like that. I know this isn't a AAA game with a AAA budget, and I do appreciate New World Interactive, and I love this game, but there's a lack of polish here that needs to be worked out before any new content is added. You can give me new maps and weapons, but I don't care if I'm running into the same little bugs, same little errors, same little issues. And now the last huge chunk of this video, the thing I'm still dealing with Insurgency in general, you need to set this game up for private match support. I should be able to make a server and invite my friends to it on my home connection just from the menu. I should be able to do that. I also should be able to play co-op with just my buddies. Like, why can't I create a private co-op session? Whatever is missing in your infrastructure, whatever is missing from the engine, I'm sorry, add it, fix it. I can host zombies matches in Call of Duty. I can host little private servers in Battlefield 2042, for God's sake. I can do custom game 1v1s in Halo Infinite. You know, any other shooter would have these features, but this one doesn't. And I'm thinking from the perspective of someone that doesn't just love this game and want it to succeed, they're buying it hesitantly, like, oh, I hope this is good. and they can't even 1v1 their buddy in it. They can't do 2-player co-op or 3 or 4-player co-op. They have to play with a bunch of randoms that might be stealing kills and already know all the routes and just genuinely making the game less fun for newbies that are trying to get into it. These are bread and butter features I'm talking about, and Insurgency Sandstorm's been out for a while. I think it's been out since 2018 or something like that. I know the console version got delayed for a while, but my God, this needs to happen. And before you come in here talking about, well, New World Interactive has this problem, or the port was handled by this company, or whatever, I don't care. I'm talking as a consumer looking at the product. Whatever has to happen to make this stuff happen, I think should happen. I'm not an investor or an employee. I just am somebody who wants this game to do well because I'm a fan of it. I like it a lot. But between the awkwardness of left stick aiming and the sluggishness of it, and high recoil, increasing bugs and glitches, awkward movement mechanics, and just the lack of bread and butter features that I mentioned, I find myself returning to this game less and less. I crave it, but then all of its little issues sort of stack up, and I get bored and leave it alone. This isn't like Arma Reforger, that's in game preview and I think has a really bright future ahead of it. Sandstorm's been around for a while, and it's annoying that these issues are still here. And while some of them are kind of ignorable on PC because the game is clearly made for PC, but I think on console all these issues are holding it back drastically. Let me know what you think down below. Let me know if I got anything wrong. I don't frequent the game a lot anymore, so this is just from my last 2 live streams I did on it, just the opinions I had. And anyway, I'll let you guys go now. If you're still watching to this point in the video, I really appreciate you. If you like my content, you like listening to it while you poop, great, thanks. Just go to the description, give me some support, give me some love, give me a super thanks, leave a like, and I will appreciate you forever. Also, there's videos on screen right now. Tap one of them. Come on, you know you want to.